Shedeur Sanders predicted to make Browns roster only if he beats out $2.6 million QB. Shedeur Sanders predicted to make Browns roster only if he beats out $2.6 million QB originally appeared on the Sporting News. With training camp well underway, the Cleveland Browns are eventually going to have to make a decision on their crowded quarterback room. Technically, the Browns have 6 quarterbacks on the roster: Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and most recently, Tyler Huntley. Watson is presumably out for the 2025 season, and his Browns career could be over entirely. Huntley was just signed after injuries hit the rest of the position group. Sanders, however, is getting the start in the Browns' first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers. That will be his first real opportunity to showcase himself and move up the depth chart, where he currently sits as QB4. That said, there's still a realistic chance Sanders doesn't make the final roster. NFL teams typically don't carry 4 quarterbacks. That's why CBS Sports' Jared Dubin believes Sanders will need to beat out one quarterback in particular, Kenny Pickett. Flacco is the team's presumptive starter and probably would not have signed with the Browns if he didn't know that was the case. Gabriel was a day 2 pick. Teams want their day 2 picks to make the team. They would have to do something really bad in training camp to not make it. That leaves Pickett, who was acquired for a 5th-round pick, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. The Browns have comparatively little invested in him relative to Flacco and Gabriel, and about as much invested in him as they do in Sanders. The difference is that Sanders is cheaper because he's a 5th-round pick and Pickett is a former 1st-rounder in the final year of his rookie deal, and that the Browns have 4 years of team control on Sanders versus just 1 on Pickett. Those factors could work in Sanders' favor if they perform at a similar level during camp. If he straight up outperforms Pickett on the field, then he would just make Cleveland's decision that much easier. Pickett, who is owed $2.6 million this season, does seem expendable here. But again, that depends on Sanders' performance the rest of training camp and in preseason. As of now, no one knows how this competition will shake out. The fact that the Browns even put themselves in this situation is baffling. Adding Sanders only further complicates Cleveland's never-ending quarterback carousel. Still, whether some believe the Browns are sabotaging Sanders by starting him in the first preseason game or not, it will be his chance to prove he belongs. The Cleveland summer was alive with tension. Not the kind that rips a team apart, the kind that forges legends. Every pass, every drill, every audible was under a microscope. And in the center of the storm was rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, a name wrapped in history, legacy, and, at least for now, uncertainty. The word around the league was spreading fast. Shedeur Sanders will only make the final 53-man roster if he beats out the $2.6 million man, veteran backup P.J. Walker. A brutal truth for a young quarterback with NFL bloodlines and a spotlight too bright for most rookies. But Shedeur wasn't flinching. Not now. Not ever. The veteran wall. P.J. Walker wasn't just a random name. The journeyman quarterback had experience, had wins, had been there before. His $2.6 million contract wasn't just money. It was faith. Veteran reliability. Insurance. Coaches love that. But in Cleveland, change was in the air. While Walker was steady, Shedeur was sparking. And in a quarterback room crowded with names like Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel, it was Shedeur's upside that quietly began to separate itself. Still, he knew the reality. "I've never had anything handed to me," Shedeur told the media after a recent camp practice. "And I'm not about to expect it now. If I've got to earn a spot by outplaying a veteran, then I'll outwork, outstudy, and outfight him." It wasn't arrogance. It was resolve. The preseason crucible. All eyes now turned to the Browns' upcoming preseason slate. For Shedeur Sanders, these were more than games, they were additions. Every rep, every snap, every decision was weighed not only against the opposing defense, but against P.J. Walker's consistency. And the pressure? It was mounting. He'd already shown flashes in camp. A beautiful deep ball to Amari Cooper, pocket poise against simulated blitzes, and an uncanny chemistry with rookie wideout Jimmy Horn Jr., but flashes weren't enough. He needed fireworks. The practice that shifted everything. Tuesday's joint practice against the Eagles was the turning point. The Browns staff rotated quarterbacks for 7 on 7s and 11 on 11 drills. Kenny Pickett threw a pick. Dillon Gabriel struggled to adjust to pressure. Walker? Safe. Smart. But predictable. Then came Shedeur. He started with a clean strike to Elijah Moore on a dig route. then a rollout right and a bullet to Njoku between two linebackers. Then, with the pocket collapsing, Shedeur floated a perfect sideline fade to Jimmy Horn Jr. 32 yards, touchdown. The Browns' sideline erupted. Joe Flacco turned to Stefanski and muttered, "That's NFL stuff." The locker room divide. Inside the locker room, players had opinions. Quiet ones, mostly. But the vibes were shifting. Some veterans appreciated Walker's leadership, sure. But others, especially younger guys on offense, were gravitating toward Shedeur. "He brings juice," one receiver said anonymously. "He's calm, but you just feel different when he's in the huddle. Like we might actually make a play that changes the game." PJ Walker didn't say much. He didn't have to. He knew how the league worked. If a rookie with upside started stealing snaps and headlines, the writing was on the wall. Even if that wall was painted in $2.6 million. Coach Prime watches quietly. Back in Boulder, Shedeur Sanders kept his distance per his son's request. "He doesn't want me showing up at camp and turning it into a circus," Coach Prime said during an interview. "He wants to earn it. I respect that." Still, Shedeur watched every snap. And when asked if he believed Shedeur could beat out a veteran with a multi-million-dollar deal, the Hall of Famer chuckled. Money don't play football. Hunger does. A roster spot in reach. Reports began to leak. Shedeur was gaining ground. Walker's leash was shortening. The Browns' coaching staff, always known for valuing intelligence and poise, couldn't ignore what they were seeing. Even Myles Garrett, never one to wade into QB debates, gave a cryptic quote after a scrimmage. "Some guys just don't blink. You can't teach that." Shedeur wasn't just blinking less, he was balling more. Decision day looms. The final preseason game would be decisive. Stefanski confirmed both Walker and Shedeur would get significant playing time. The implication was clear. This is the battle. Winner gets a spot. Loser gets a phone call. Shedeur didn't need to be told. He knew what was at stake. "Pressure makes diamonds," he said quietly before boarding the team bus. "And I came to shine."